How does Iga look at this? Does she look at the United Cup as information that she needed to be really ready for the Australian Open? I hope that's the way she looks at it. She played well in some matches there and not as well in others. I was there covering the tournament from Sydney, so I got a close look at Team Poland. And by the way, Hurkacz was amazing.
Hi, Jim. Great to see you.
You too.
Polish team, of course, won the United Cup, but Iga Świątek suffered two losses to Coco Gauff and Belinda Bencic. And her movement wasn't so great, as she admitted. Should her performances in those matches be a cause of concern heading into Australian Open? Should her fans be worried?
Well, you can look at it in different ways. Like, how does Iga look at this? Does she look at the United Cup as information that she needed to be really ready for the Australian Open? I hope that's the way she looks at it. She played well in some matches there and not as well in others. I was there covering the tournament from Sydney, so I got a close look at Team Poland. And by the way, Hurkacz was amazing. It was great to see Hubert playing so well again after his injury troubles.
Yeah, my second questions will be about Hubi.
Yeah, we can get to him, so I'll hold fire on that. But yeah, Iga, the good news about majors is she's protected in the first two rounds from playing anyone in the top 32. So she'll have a few matches, you would think, to work her way in and get some rhythm. And we'll see how she does. She played awfully well last year. You know, she was this close to beating Madison and getting to the finals. So she knows she can do it. But restarting the engines at the beginning of the year, sometimes, you know, you have to work out a few problems, and the movement certainly can improve. I think the shot selection can improve. She was a little bit impatient at times, but we know that once she gets rolling, and sometimes it only takes one match to get rolling, you can, you know, in parentheses, you can see Coco Gauff. She started slowly at the United Cup and then finished strong. So it doesn't take much to turn things around as long as you're ready to do that, and she will be.
So, of course, second questions about Hubi. He looked surprisingly strong after a 7-month break from competitive tennis and his problems with his knee, defeating some very tough opponents. Will he be able to carry this momentum into the Australian Open, where matches are played best of 5 sets? So the physical. It will be more difficult for him physically.
Well, it's certainly going to be more stressful on his knee. We'll see how that holds up. His game looks like it's going to hold up, though. I think one of the benefits, right, the glass half full aspect of having spent almost 7 months away from the game, he's fresh mentally. I think he's had a really nice build up to get ready for the season. Clearly, he played well right out of the blocks. And I think really crucially also, it gave him time to, I think, adjust more to the new Wilson racket, right? Because this time last year, he was just starting with the Wilson racket. And in Sydney, we saw that he was getting more spin on the forehand and more speed on the forehand, making that more of a lethal shot, which was the goal of switching to that racket from what he and Nico Massou told me. So I think that in some ways, he's better off now than he was this time last year, and certainly is with his knee repaired. Hopefully that's going to hold. And the weather doesn't look too penal right now. The forecast for Melbourne doesn't look like we have any 40-degree days in the horizon. So that'll be meaningful too if he's not quite as fit as he wants to be. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think all players will enjoy that.
Question about Iga Świątek and Coco Gauff. Iga Świątek used to beat Coco Gauff almost every time, but now the American has won their last 4 encounters, and each one in the straight set. What do you think is behind this change in their rivalry?
I think it has a lot to do with the aggressiveness of Iga's shot selection within that match. I think patience, you know, for so many years was the hallmark of Iga's game, and her ability to work people around the court and just outlast them until she got the right ball to hit. I think it's sometimes because Coco's defense is so amazing that matchup becomes challenging for Iga if she wants to play the type of offensive tennis that she's become more used to lately. I think in some ways that just requires a little bit more of the old Iga in that matchup as far as her shot selection.
Jim, you've won Australian twice. What's the biggest challenge in this tournament? Is this the weather and the condition, or maybe something else?
I think the weather is certainly one of the bigger challenges historically there, and it doesn't look like that's going to be much of a challenge this year, thankfully. It certainly was at the United Cup in Perth and Sydney. It was incredibly hot on some of the days. But other than that, it's just go play ball. The courts are fair, the balls are fair, and everyone should be relatively fresh and ready to go.
Australian Open is the only Grand Slam tournament that Iga Świątek has never won. Do you think is she capable of completing the career Grand Slam already this year? And what will be the key factors for her to achieve it? Maybe this shot selection that you said.
Yeah, there's two of the big storylines going into the Australian Open is can Iga and can Carlos complete the career Grand Slam at such a young age? So those are huge opportunities and big things within their career that they'll look to achieve. And for me with Iga, yeah, it's patience, it's shot selection. I don't worry as much about her execution if she's trying to do the right things within each point. I think it would be as surprising this year if Madison were to win as it was last year, because she's been struggling a little bit in the second half of the season. And I'm hoping she's going to come and play the way that she did. And if she does, she'll be in the fight because she has that game, as we've seen, that on a hard court, she can certainly put up big resistance to the top players. But I think it's pretty clear right now that the favorites are starting in the top seeds. You got to look at Arena for sure. I think Coco has shown that in the United Cup that she's viable, which is amazing. Anisimova, incredible season last year. She's in the hunt, and Rybakina, along with Iga and Arena. I think those are the ones that I'm kind of looking at, and I'm wondering if we're going to see Naomi Osaka and Vicky Mboko make a run the way they did in Canada. There's some other people that certainly can kind of put their hands in the air, but I think you start with Sabalenka and you work from there.